But, any- but anyway, no, just certainly feel that momentum shift and starting to really pick some things up. So just excited about breaking two new sales managers this month. So pretty pumped about that. So that's what I got, my man.
Awesome. Great. Good news, Tim, and look forward to seeing you here in a little bit and spending the day with you in the car. We've done this before, so we know we won't kill each other. That's a good thing, right? Looking forward to it, buddy. All right, Mark. Good news.
Well, I was going to pull an elaborate April Fool's joke on you, but I'm not going to say anything. Since we have a distinguished guest on, I didn't want to think I'm crazy or something. So anyway, good news is that the team is booming. For my lack of contribution, they have picked up the slack. I've been a little sidetracked the last couple of weeks trying to get back on for various reasons. But anyway, just excited. I mean, Renee is setting the pace for everybody. It's just amazing what she's doing, working with good leads every day. So fantastic. And then a lot of new people coming on and just pecking away. Real proud of Kevin getting out, setting his own appointments, getting out and getting deals done on his own. Just real excited. And it's great to see his excitement from, helping these people. He wrote 3 AIG policies in one day because that's all he could go to. He was so excited and so happy. And I'm just real proud of him, as well as everybody else that's out there hammering away. So just excited to end the first quarter and really blow it up in the second quarter.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate the good news for sure for you and Good Life. And we're going to go ahead and put that out there in the ether because I think when the numbers come out in the wash next week, you will be a sales manager. So we're looking forward to that. Officially, you stepping over that, Mark. No pun intended there. Mark, it's awesome what you guys are doing. Your leadership, you're usually one of the top 1, 2, or 3 every single week. Your team's building, you're growing. You guys take pictures when you guys are out there down there training and stuff together. And it shows what's happening, and it's good things to continue to happen for you and Good Life. And I want to be publicly the first person to congratulate you for hitting sales manager. And we know senior sales manager is right around the corner. So congratulations to you and Good Life for sure.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, bud. And I can't say enough about what this lady does. She's always in the mix, always number 1, 2, or 3, one of the top producers, if you will, with not just Genesis and Worldwide and Good Life, but all of Phoenix and all of Ignite, if you will, which is a very large organization doing about $550 a month. So Renee, good news for you and your crew.
Yeah, past couple weeks have just been getting a lead strategy formulated really can make the difference in your business. Like you guys have seen me write more the past couple weeks. And I think it's really important to not be afraid to branch out and even though something might be uncomfortable as to, invest prior to getting with regards to direct mail. I think anybody that really wants to build this business is going to have to take that step and not be afraid and just grab it by the horns. Everybody is really starting to move on up because people are slowly but surely revamping their lead strategy. And I think if more people follow suit, this team is just going to continue to grow and just come up out of the water and surprise everybody. Eventually, we're not going to be the dark horse anymore. We're going to be one of the lead frontmen. So I'm just proud of what everybody's doing, and I look forward to what's yet to come.
Hey, Renee, before you put yourself on mute, I mean, absolutely well said, first of all. And second of all, so just said, Tim's got that smile on his face. What do you say, Tim? What can't plastic surgery can't remove it?
Plastic surgery can't remove the smile off my face after that.
I mean, you guys know we're big into recognition, but Renee, if you don't mind, this isn't new for you. You came right out of the box doing this. You worked for one of the largest rental car companies in the country. And, you came here, you're like, man, when you called me and said, when should I come on? I know you're talking to other people, but when should I come on full time? Renee, come on whenever you feel it's ready. 2 weeks later, you're here full time and you've crushed it. You've had your ups, your downs, just like that's what this business is. But at the same time, the results you're getting, the results you were getting before. It's like you just mentioned, your lead strategy has changed. And I hope you guys heard what she said there. It's just getting together with the right people. And sometimes those right people might not be in our little circle. It might be someplace else here at FFL or another mentor. Renee, I just wanted to say publicly, it's really awesome to see. It just seems like you're lighting up the board every day. And more importantly, not just what you're doing for your family financially, but all these families that you're protecting when they're going to need it the most, when you're going to get that phone call and they say, Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith just passed away. I don't want us to ever forget that. But Renee, my hat's off to you. You're crushing it. Keep up the great work. Tim, I'm sure you got something to say there before we swing to GP.
No, it's just, speaking with Renee, and we were actually talking a little bit last night. I think she came over here in May, but it's like I was telling her, just to see the consistency that she's poised and a couple months where she wasn't feeling good, but what did she do? She didn't whine about it. She didn't cry about it. And I just love her grittiness when it comes to this, because stuff happens, life happens. And, it's not what happens to you, but it's how you react to it. And that's the one thing that I've always appreciated about Renee is just, hey, that happened, that sucked, but you know what? She just rolls her sleeves back up, very candid about it, and that's what I love about what she does. So
Yeah.
she just gets in there and she just makes it happen and puts that lead strategy together. I know we've been talking about direct mail now for the last month and a half, and man, she's really implemented it, and obviously the results are there for her.
Well, you've implemented it too, Tim, and that's not that you weren't getting the exact same results. One of our top performers last year as well. So appreciate it. Thank you, Renee. Congratulations to you again on another huge day again and huge
Thanks,
week.
guys.
You're very welcome. All right, GP, you're up. And please don't forget Miss Brandy. Awesome results and awesome news from yesterday.
Well, good morning, everyone. First of all, just want to say great job to Tim, Mark, Renee. You guys teams are just continually crushing it. Continue to learn more and more from you guys and talk to you guys on a weekly basis. And I really appreciate your leadership you guys have been doing. Along with you, Corey, of course. We talk every day. So, but I had an opportunity to go to the here in Atlanta area, the FFL Road to Hall of Fame seminar, along with Brandy, and it was just fantastic. Some of the things that we learned, it was 3 hours long, but it didn't seem like it was that long. It was probably about 10 presenters. Each one of them had about 10, 15, 20 minutes to present. We took some good notes, learned a lot of things about being, consistent. Some of the same things we have been taught here. Set up your day, be ready, don't give up on the clients, know what you're going out there for. It's not about, we want to make money and take care of ourselves, but know what everything is about. Know that they fill out these cards, they fill out these forms and all of that. We're there to help them. They want our help, they need our help, and that's what we're there for. Don't give up on them. But the greatest thing about it, that whole day, was Brandy being there. And I'm not going to steal her thunder. I'm going to let her tell her little story about yesterday. Just so proud of her growth and everything. So Brandy, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Yesterday was a wonderful experience for me. Just seeing everyone get up there and tell their story and tell their why and the reason why they get up and continue to do this every day and day in and day out. It was one person that was there that was telling their story of how they had a client, a husband and a wife with 5 kids. The husband was the only one that was work provider for the family, and they put off signing up for insurance. I think it was like a month or maybe 2 months later. And when the representative went back to the family, the husband had just died this past February. On the 2nd, February the 2nd, he died. And now the wife is there with 5 kids, and she's on the verge of losing her house, not able to feed her kids. So that hit home for that representative. It actually hit home for me as well, because that's something big. You don't want that just sitting there. So they said be bold and be real, have your stories that you sit down and tell a client. Don't turn away. Whatever your why is, make sure you do it for your why. And man, they gave away leads yesterday. I received $2,000 worth of leads just for raising. It was a question that they asked, and I don't remember the question, unfortunately. And they're giving me $2,000 worth of leads. It was very informative. Sean Mike was there talking. It was great. It was awesome what he was talking about. You call these leads up and they give you these stupid questions because we all know that they fill out the form. That's the only way we get the information because they're filling out this information online. So if they say they didn't fill it out, or if they say something like, well, I already have that taken care of, he said, of course I know you already have that taken care of. That's why I'm here. So just kind of try to follow up with them. Just don't give up, keep going. Be bold, push as much, because you don't want anything to happen to a family because everyone on this line knows the benefit of insurance and knows the reason why people need to be insured. So I love the meeting that I went to yesterday. I can't wait to go to more. It was just an awesome time that I had there, and meeting different people, agents like myself who are just getting started, and just having a little bit of time being fear. Everybody has that fear. Everybody has the fear. I still have the fear. It's just overcoming that fear that you have. And that's what they mainly was talking about. If you could just swallow that fear and just push through it, some things will change. And that's what I got out the meeting. And like I said, it was a wonderful meeting. It was an awesome meeting yesterday.
Well, Brandy, thank you for sharing that. I really did. I know Gregory called me when you guys were still there, and I could hear the excitement in his voice and yours. And guys, that's what we talk about, attending as many meetings as you can. We know sometimes it might flip your day, it might do all that kind of stuff or disrupt your calendar. But the things you get from the meetings, the people that you talk to, the connections you make, and sometimes, as Tim says all the time, it's getting back around that fire. Every month or two, man, you just get tired of getting beat up on the phone and people yelling at you about something they filled out, which doesn't make any sense, right? But at the same time, being able to re-engage and get yourself back going, that's what these meetings are for. That was a Hall of Fame meeting. I think that was in Kennesaw, Georgia, I believe. That's how we continue to post those things on Slack so you guys can see them. Gregory, not to steal your thunder, congratulations, by the way, on the $2,000 worth of leads. I'm sure you'll turn that 2 to 10 and all the families that you'll help. So Gregory, anything else before we go and move on to Dylan?
No, it was just the question was, Sean Mike was up talking and he said, any new people between 3 and 4 months, they all raised their hands. He said, okay, we're going to give all of them 1,000. And I was trying to get Brandy's attention to tell her to raise her hand. But as I was typing her, he asked the second question and said, is there anybody who is scared to make these phone calls? And only about 3 of them raised their hand. And he was like, you mean to tell me just these 3 people are scared, are brave enough to say that? He said, give them all $2,000 worth of leads. Boom. $2,000 worth of leads, just like that. Just for being honest. He said, I know the rest of you guys are lying. Just these guys for being honest. We're gonna give them $2,000 worth of leads. Just fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks, Corey.
Well, no problem. Thank you guys for sharing your experience. Thank you guys for taking the time to be there for sure. Dylan.
I'm here. Hello.
All right.
Good morning, everybody.
Thank you for listening to that and battling through that the last 15, 16 minutes. So we appreciate it. So guys, we have Dylan on. He had a presentation, but as we were talking this morning, as everybody was joining the meeting, he mentioned that Q&A is probably a better idea. And we'll definitely have Dylan on more for sure. So those of you guys that are obviously new or newer, don't pay attention to Slack with the numbers. Mutual of Omaha has very, very quickly turned into one of our top providers or companies, if you will, that we write business with. Matter of fact, it'll be probably somewhere between 55, 60% of what we'll issue pay this month, obviously with the numbers trending up, et cetera. So reach out to Dylan. He was very gracious to say, I'll hop on. Yes, I'm happy to do whatever you guys need us to do. As you guys know, Gregory is our leading provider, if you will, in reference to information with Mutual of Omaha and IULs. And you see more and more IULs popping up on our Slack line every day. So again, we have Life Brokerage, sales director with Mutual of Omaha, Dylan Cummings. Dylan, good morning. And again, thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on. I love this. I am in Omaha, Nebraska, in case any of you don't know. So that makes sense. Mutual of Omaha, Nebraska. That's where I'm at. And anytime that I get to talk to groups, and I know you guys are all over, but I know that Corey's in St. Louis. It makes me feel like you guys are kind of in my backyard. There's that, for whatever reason, I kind of like that. You feel a little bit more like family that way. I am the national sales rep for Family First Life. So I spend a lot of time East Coast, West Coast, Florida, stuff like that, where a lot of the business is coming from. So I love this. This makes me really happy that we've got some Midwesterners coming up, and such a big group too. It's been pretty impressive. I do
Awesome.
just want to introduce myself a little bit to you guys, let you guys know what my background is, where I come from, and kind of how I arrived where we all are here. I started working in Mutual about 15 years ago. So really kind of my just first job out of college that wasn't really planning on having a career in insurance, as I'm sure a lot of folks here. I mean, nobody really goes to college for insurance sales, right? And so yeah, it happened to be a nice job. It was actually in sales that I started out in. We have a direct to consumer organization at Mutual that sells what did I sell? Medicare supplements, sold guaranteed whole life, sold like a little kind of piddly hospital indemnity plan that we had, John Wayne Cancer Plan, where the hook was if you bought the John Wayne Cancer Plan, we sent you an 8x12 of John Wayne. And that was a lot of people just like the idea of getting that picture of John Wayne. So started out in that kind of sales way. I think it was a really good way to cut your teeth. I think that anybody who gets in this business, the first thing when you do is you get licensed and you start to sell. You learn fast. I quickly learned that I liked the insurance industry. I liked I think it's a noble profession. I think that providing people insurance, helping people out with protection, and knowing that they're going to have these things that are in place for them when they need them. That was huge for me. That made me feel really good about what we did, and obviously I haven't left the industry yet, so I continue to believe in it and support it. After doing the sales for a little bit, I had another opportunity to go into underwriting, and I thought I wanted to be an underwriter for a few years. So learning about health histories and developing risk and looking at those sorts of things also really kind of intrigued me. I liked kind of building those puzzles by looking at people's health histories and medical records, and was there for a while. And then another opportunity opened up in kind of our brokerage sales platform, and the money's good in sales, and the underwriting was fun for a little bit, and I decided to move back over to sales. So here I am, doing the coast to coast sales with Mutual of Omaha. Mutual of Omaha has been a really good company to me. Growing up in Omaha, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell that the rest of the world knows Mutual of Omaha, that the brand awareness is so widespread. I don't know that I realized it when I started working at Mutual, because everybody in Omaha knows Mutual of Omaha because it's a big building right in the middle of town type of thing. But as I've traveled and met more people, and getting cabs and Ubers, and people ask me what I do, and I say, well, I work for an insurance company called Mutual of Omaha. It blows me away how many people are like, oh, sure, I know Mutual of Omaha. My grandma's got a life insurance policy with them, or absolutely. I remember watching Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom when I was a kid. Which, if there's some younger folks on here, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom was a television show from like 1964. And I think it aired all the way until like 1984 or something like that, 35, 40 years, a really, really long runtime. And, as far as marketing strategies go, really one of the smartest marketing strategies that I've ever seen any company ever do, because it's still, it hasn't been on air since the 80s, and it's still paying dividends for us, right? People love and have a very positive association with Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. So I would absolutely recommend that you guys kind of leverage that brand name, especially if you're talking to customers for the first time, talking to clients for the first time. Using that name is a way to sort of build trust and understanding. I work for a bunch of great insurance companies. I'm an independent agent, but I mean, you might have heard of, Mutual of Omaha, John Hancock, that sort of thing. People, especially in that sort of 45 and older age demographic, they're going to light up when you talk about Mutual of Omaha. So it's a really good thing to talk about. So in sales, I've been in sales role for about 8 years. And kind of in the simplified issue life insurance market, and I got to know it really well. And I've known a lot of you folks for a long time. Mr. Gregory Pitts, I met him before, and when I was a little bit different place in the sales role. And I knew Sean. I've known Sean for about 8 years, so even pre FFL. I knew Sean, and so bringing on Family First Life was absolutely a no-brainer for us. We knew Sean, we believed in Sean. All the people that he surrounded himself with, and to see the growth that Family First Life has done in the last 5 years has been incredible. There's nobody that's growing faster than Family First Life. Family First Life is Mutual of Omaha's #1 IMO. It has been for the last 2.5, 3 years at this stage. So I don't see that changing anytime soon based on the pace. I mean, you guys said it, like, that 60-65% of what you're doing is coming to Mutual of Omaha, and that's just growing, right? That's not, you're probably growing with all carriers exponentially. That's sort of been my experience when I'm out there talking to groups. So the growth has been explosive, impressive. I haven't seen anything else like it in the 8 years that I've been in sales. So you guys are in the right place. If anybody's questioning that, there's nobody growing faster, working harder than FFL and the agents associated with. So thank you guys for everything that you do for us. Thank you for the business. I'm here really just to help facilitate any questions that you might have about products. I'm a really good resource to use if you ever, have an issue with commissions, contracting, anything along those lines. I may not always have the answer, but I'll give it the college try if I can do it. But usually I can get you in contact with the right person if you need that little bit of extra help if something things fall through the cracks sometimes. You guys are sending a ton of business to us, so we understand that sometimes you do need a little bit of special attention to make sure things are working the way that you need to. So I'm just I tell people I'm in the happy business. I just want to keep all of you happy, do anything I can to keep you happy, and that keeps me happy. We're all happy. We're all in the happy business. So let's focus on that. Couple of quick things that I do want to mention about Mutual of Omaha that we've kind of rolled out before we get into the question and answer series. Just want to make sure that everybody's aware that probably the biggest thing that we've announced this year so far, as far as our products go, is certainly that we've added the living benefits to our Term Life Express return of premium product. That was huge for us. We know that was a big kind of missing item on that return of premium product. So, before, it only had a terminal illness trigger to access those living benefits, get that death benefit while clients are still alive. And living benefits have obviously become, almost the reason that some people buy life insurance in some instances, right? Like, they like the idea of life insurance. That's obviously the primary goal, but being able to have that flexibility to give clients something that, should the worst happen and they not pass away, they can really leverage that life insurance to do some incredible things. And I've witnessed, I've seen examples over and over again where people have used that living benefits even when you wouldn't expect it. So people that have only had a life insurance policy for 2-3 months and all of a sudden find themselves critically or chronically ill, never in a million years would think that life insurance policy could help them and they could get cash so that they could make ends meet while they're still alive. That's a huge opportunity for these clients. So we're very excited to be able to offer them on our return of premium product for Term Life Express. It is a little bit different from our non-ROP Term Life Express. So it is kind of a one and done model. So you can basically accelerate the full death benefit at the point when you become critically, chronically, or terminally ill. So that's a little bit different, where our non-ROP allows multiple accelerations, and you can only do it up to 80% of the face amount. So those are kind of the two distinctions, but it really is, for me now, I think it's the most competitive return of premium on the market. The pricing is going to be, top 3, if not #1 in just about every sale compared to any other carrier out there. The brand name obviously kind of sets us apart. People like that. They gravitate towards Mutual of Omaha that way. So again, that's the biggest thing that we've announced so far. So I just want to make sure that that's got everybody's attention, and that they're giving us looks when you're running into those return of premium situations, because it really is a great product now, and I think it compares to everybody else, and if the pricing is better, that's going to be better for the client altogether. #2, I know that I think Corey told me Gregory Pitts is the big IUL guy. So I want to make sure that I have his attention on this as well, but as well as anybody else that's selling IULE. We know that kind of a challenge for IUL Express is that illustration part of it, right? So it is an interest sensitive product and therefore requires us to get a signed illustration in most states. There's some states that don't necessarily require us to do it. So, we've known that that's been a problem for 2.5 years that we've had the product. We're finally at a place where we're going to be able to integrate that illustration signature process into the electronic application that we have. So it's only going to be for the easy solve in the first iteration, which is 99% of the applications that we're getting in anyway. But it's just going to be automatically populated into the electronic application. You get the signature inside of it. You don't need any extra steps to submit that IUL Express product. So we are targeting, I think, June. Well, I think they told me May, but I'm going to tell you June because I know how things work sometimes. So I think,
no
I think
DocuSign or anything like that. No DocuSign.
DocuSign. This is all in the. What the DocuSign
man,
works. We'll take DocuSign,
does.
but that would be up to you to integrate that. So this is in the iGo electronic application that you access through Mutual of Omaha's website. So yeah, in a couple of months that should be done. That IUL Express product is incredible, guys, and you guys have been selling. I don't know. I can't say the words that's bringing to mind, but you're selling a lot of it, and it's incredible. There's nobody else that's selling near the amounts of IUL Express. We really believe in IUL as a product. We do get some people that have concerns about, well, the guarantee isn't that long in that sort of product. We're only as good as the company that's offering these types of products, and we're a company that really does want to be in business for another 150 years, right? Like I still am young enough to where I need these IUL products to last longer than when my retirement date comes. So I absolutely believe in the longevity of these products and that they are safe, permanent life insurance products that your clients can trust and believe in. So that's definitely something that I want to impress upon all of you folks. And with that was my two big announcements. We've got IUL Express e-app integration coming soon, and make sure you're keeping in mind that return of premium Term Life Express product has the living benefits added to it.
Awesome.
Can I ask a quick question about the living benefits?
You absolutely can. That's what we're here for.
It's a two-part question. Number one, can you explain what a chronic illness would look like? And the second part of that is, if somebody were to get COVID, be in the hospital on a respirator for 3 months, what would that qualify as, chronic or critical?
So for us, and really I think this is true industry wide, every carrier pretty much has the same exact definition for chronic illness, and that's not being able to perform 2 of the activities of daily living, right? So there's 6 total activities of daily living that would, eating, drinking, toileting, bathing, dressing. I don't think I got that's only 5. Anyway, there's 6 of them. And if you can't perform 2 of them, then that qualifies you as chronically ill. If somebody got COVID and was on a respirator for a long time, obviously you wouldn't be able to perform 2 of the activities of daily living if you were on a respirator for that long a time. What I will say, and again, this is true of all carriers who are offering these living benefits, unless that illness, chronic or critical, impacts your life expectancy to some degree, it's not going to be a great way to get cash out of that policy, right? Life expectancy is the biggest factor in knowing how much money that I can get out of my death benefit acceleration. Because in the end, it is still death benefit, right? We're expecting you to die sometime sooner than later. If it's a term within that term limit, would be our expectation for you to be able to accelerate that death benefit, right? So that's the biggest key of all living benefits. Life expectancy is going to be the determining factor on how much of that acceleration I'm actually going to get, right? If I have if that COVID, for lack of a better word, I'm no doctor, obviously, but if a client is paralyzed to the extent where the life expectancy is much shorter than it would have been when they took out that policy, absolutely, they can apply for chronic illness acceleration and they would get it. But for a lot of people, I use the example of a heart attack. Like my dad had a heart attack. I think he was maybe 51 or 52, something along those lines. But then, he lived to be 74. So if he had 5 years left on a 15-year term policy when he was 51 and had a heart attack, his life expectancy extended well past the end of that term. So it would not have, been a great option for him to accelerate death benefit at that stage. Does that make sense?
Yep, thank you.
Great question, Renee. Dylan, I have a quick question for you. So you have the TLE and then you have Answers, right?
Yes, sir.
Answers doesn't have any living benefits.
No.
And that application has to be basically APS, correct?
Correct. I would say there is if you do a drop ticket from our website, you choose our drop ticket's called a Speedy Ticket, and a drop ticket is where the agent takes a limited amount of information from the client and then basically passes it on to an examiner, and then the examiner will essentially complete the health questions portion of the application. That will go through what we call an accelerated underwriting process, where we have some I don't know, kind of like the fancy Google searches, LexisNexis searches, some algorithms that we can run clients through. There is a chance that client could be approved without us looking at medical records. Up to $2 million is the limit there. But I mean, if I'm being honest with you, maybe 20 to 25% of clients fall under that category, and the other 75, 80 are going to get pushed to typical underwriting, where we do order a medical records. We do need an examiner to go out and collect a blood and urine sample and everything that you'd expect from a typical fully underwritten position.
Perfect. And guys, the reason I answer that question is because Mutual of Omaha, if you have somebody that's fairly young, I would say probably at 55 or younger, even though that it does have an extended age range on it, that product goes all the way up to $65 million. Tim and I have played with that thing before, just messing with the rates. But the reason I say that, if somebody's willing to go through underwriting, Mutual of Omaha is always pretty, obviously that's why we write so much of it, very competitive price. I know we have, I won't say the name right now, but we have some other competitors that have good products in that space. But I just want to make sure, because you don't see that product written much, and it's a good product, I think, because everything else is pretty much simplified issue. But I wanted to make sure everybody understood that product.
Absolutely. It's worth mentioning too that Family First Life sells more term life answers than any other IMO that we work with as well. So I mean, the opportunities are out there. You will find frequently that, if you're, you guys are business owners, I'm sure that you've looked into, sort of a buy-sell agreements. If you have key person insurance, stuff like that, you need big face amounts for that. You might need a $2, $5, $10 million policy, depending on the valuation of that business. So it makes perfect sense to be able to have access to a product like that. When it's not going to be the everyday situation, but 4 or 5 times a year, you're probably going to run into a client that needs more than $500,000 in life insurance, and term life answers is a great way to do that.
Yeah. And it's pretty awesome. I wanted to bring that up just for that reason alone, because those things will happen. Because I know we don't sell it a lot, but I know it's a very affordable product. Thank you.
It's funny
Next
that
question.
technically you do sell it a lot.
Well,
to me,
yeah.
to me, not to you.
Yeah, I get it. All right, guys, we got Dylan for about another 10 minutes. So if he has the time. So any additional
Absolutely.
questions, keep in mind, guys, we got, the Mutual Omaha expert here, and it's your chance to ask questions.
So Dylan, this is Gregory, of course.
Hey, Gregory.
For that on that PLA. So you're saying if a business owner says they want to get some business insurance like that, that would be one of the perfect ones to use because of the high
Premium
face value.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And I've had people ask me, and I've always said no. I never.
No, you can do it. You can do it. And I'll also say we have at Mutual of Omaha what we call an advanced markets team. I know you guys have the FFL AMS too. Sean Ruggiero and that team does a really good job. But we have kind of our own flavor of that, and they are one of the I'd say the key things that they do is business valuations. So if you have, for whatever reason, you run into a high net worth client that owns a business and is interested in taking out insurance, one of the things you can offer is like, hey, I work with a company that can offer to value your business for you, so you have an idea of how much is worth. They send in all their their ledgers essentially, and these are essentially financial lawyers that will go through and work their magic and say, okay, you're bringing in this much per year. Over 5 years is like the typical industry way to look at the valuation. I'm making up all these numbers as I go along, but they can do that for your clients. So that's a great value add that you guys can utilize if you ever run into that situation where the expectation is that you would take out a life insurance policy after that business valuation is sort of the business insurance, but it's a neat tool that not every carrier has access to a team that's as good at that as ours.
Awesome. Good
I have
question.
a question about the IULE illustration when we do it in WinFlex. Is that something you're familiar with?
I'm very familiar, absolutely.
Okay, so one thing that I've come across is on the writers page, you're able to select the guaranteed insurability option, but there's no box for me to submit the dollar amount that I would like it to be. So when I do the illustration, it actually, and you guys approve it, you guys auto approve it for 25,000. How can I actually decide what amount that I want for the guaranteed insurability option?
So the guaranteed insurability option rider is it's a set rider. It's a no cost rider that's automatically embedded in every policy. So that $25,000 increase limit per well, I guess increase, that is locked in stone. You can't go below it, you can't go above it.
And how many times can you do that?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the answer is either as many times as you can up to the face amount limitation, right? So you wouldn't be able to go above 300,000. But if I had a $200,000 policy, technically I could do it 4 times until I reach
Up
that
to
$300,000 limit.
I
Right.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Pitts, I think you had another question.
Yeah, I did. Thanks. Dylan, on talking about approvals of policies, is there a certain guideline of timelines? Like I know, like the child whole life policies, those sometimes issue right in the same day. You'll write them and then an hour later they're already approved. What about the for IULE? Let's say IULE Easy Solve or final expense plans. Is there a timeline for? Well, I'm not saying it's not for approval because sometimes they're instant approval, but for the issuance of them. That's
For the issuance. Okay, I think I'm tracking. So I would say it's interesting that you should say that the children's whole life sometimes goes in the same day, because our underwriting teams will prioritize those cases as they come in, and children's whole life, because they're smaller face, less premium, kind of get pushed to the bottom as far as priorities go. IUL Express is generally our number one priority when issuing business. So if we do get a day or two behind, those are going to be the cases that we push to the top and get the most special attention the fastest. And then final expense and term life express would come up after that. So, it's a bit of a flux between week to week, depending on the volume of apps that we have. Like right now, I think our underwriting team is a day behind from what their typical time service is, which should be 24 to 48 hours. So if they're at 36, 72 at this stage, technically they're a day behind from their typical stuff. But yeah, they can be on the ball. It just sometimes they got to work a weekend to catch back up, because all of a sudden we can get 1,000 more apps than we expected to, because FFL just does that.
So
also,
Go ahead, finish up, Gregory. Go ahead.
Also for the fully underwritten IULs, you still would have to do a DocuSign and get them to sign. That's not going to be one of those automatic things that you're talking about with the IULE.
Right. Only the IULE will have the illustration integrated in the app. That's a great question.
Cool. Thank you.
Tim?
Yeah,
Thanks, Greg.
so Dylan, nice to meet you, man.
Good to meet you.
On the IULE, obviously the underwriting is going to be very similar to Term Life Express. Correct?
Exactly the same, right? Yeah.
Okay, so you know, I did notice that the IULE is, you know, somewhat friendly to people with diabetes. Now, is there certain, I guess, is there any type of cheat sheet or anything that we can look at or have our hands on that we can, you know, obviously, you know, because again, it's all about saving time, and I don't want to be submitting applications that, you know, I know if they have this, they're not going to get approved.
Right.
You know, I need to pivot somewhere else.
Absolutely. So diabetes is probably the number one question I get from everybody, just because every carrier is a little bit different, and that makes sense. So for us, you're right. Our qualifier is age 50, right? That's kind of where we draw the line on the sand. If you're diagnosed with diabetes after age 50 and do not have any other complications associated with it, we're pretty much okay with you. So you're absolutely right. There's a lot of people, you know, 55, 60-year-olds that have had diabetes for a few years, and we'll take that all day long. We're fine with that. The only difference is if I'm 55 and have diabetes, but I was diagnosed at age 48, 47, that's when we're not okay with it. So 50 is the key qualifier for us as far as diabetes goes. And we do have a simplified issue, express issue underwriting guide. If you guys have never looked at it, I would encourage everyone to save as a bookmark mutualofomaha.com/simple. It's not password protected. You can save it in your bookmarks and get back to it whenever you need. It's got our prescription drug guide. It's got our underwriting guide for simplified issue products. It's got training videos for electronic applications. It really is I tell people, I think, 85% of the time you have a question about Mutual of Omaha, you can probably find the answer on that website. It's going to make my job obsolete pretty quick.
Mutual of Omaha, you said /simple or /?
I think it picks it up either way, but it's a / technically. So mutualofomaha.com/simple, SIMPLE.
Got it. Thank you. Well, that was worth you getting on today anyway.
Absolutely.
That one thing. Great question, Tim. Another couple minutes, guys. Again, Dylan, thanks again for your time today. Paul,
thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Yeah. Hey, Dylan, it's Paul in St. Louis. So I got a meeting at 10:30 with a couple. They're both 65. I don't know their health. I'm just going to assume they're in good health. What about Term Life Express versus IULE for this couple?
So I love your optimism. Two healthy 65-year-olds. That's great. If they're healthy, and I would say, just the application is there to help you. If they can honestly answer no to all those health questions on the application, then they're going to qualify, right? Like that is ultimately what that application is there to help you drive kind of a qualification that way. That's a really good. So I really like the way that IUL Express compares to Term Life Express at those older issue ages, because the term for a 65-year-old is expensive, and the IUL Express is actually really competitive. It might be a few extra dollars, but then you're giving them cash value. You're giving them the ability to extend that policy beyond what that term is going to cover. I mean, for me, I like the IUL Express much better in that scenario. 65-year-old who wants to be able to hang on to that policy for the rest of their life and just know it's there. It's probably worth the $5-10 extra per month that it's going to cost.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going for at least 1 out of 2 are very healthy.
All right, that's fair. You can send the other one to America.
Dylan, I got one more question.
Or not.
I got one more question for you, Dylan.
Yes.
IULE easy solve versus IULE non-easy solve. When would you use one or the other?
99% of the applications, and probably higher than that, really, if I haven't done the math in a while, are that easy solve. I think it's kind of that perfect match of, it's still going to be an affordable premium for the client. It's still going to give them great potential in cash value accumulation upside. Still gives them a permanent policy that's going to last them the rest of their lives. if you do have clients that are interested in the, tax advantages of taking loans out of that policy in the later life, I might mess around with putting some extra cash in there, right? That's, you're going to get some cash value on the easy solve, but nobody's going to be able to retire off of it when the time comes. So yeah, I mean, play around with them. That minimum face max cash play that's in the illustration on WinFlex is a very useful tool to see, this is how much cash value I could have after 20, 30 years. And, people love cash value. I've always been surprised about how kind of prolific the idea of cash value is associated with life insurance. People who don't know anything about life insurance, but I know about cash value and I like it. I'm like, all right, that's cool. We got products that do that for you if you need to. But yeah, that's really the only time I would mess around. Otherwise, that, again, 99% of the time that easy solve is going to do everything that you want the client to have.
Okay, cool.
Another solid question, Gregory. One more question for Mr. Dillon. One more. I don't want to take it, but one more question.
I got one.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, so Dylan, I got the naughty list email last week. That's been taken care of. I'm not asking to talk about that, but
Okay.
Could you give all our new people a heads up on persistency and that sort of thing to make sure that they don't get that someday?
Absolutely. That's a great thing to talk about. So placement and persistency are two measurements that we monitor very closely from an insurance carrier point of view. It's how we determine profitability, and we're a big company, and we're still just very careful about the way we price things, right? Our pricing on our products, in order for us to offer that low pricing, there's certain expectations we have for the quality of business that comes in. So one thing that we do monitor very closely is placement, and that's how many applications do I submit to a carrier versus how many of those applications get placed. And really, we would like that percentage to be around 65, 70%, right? For every 10 applications that you're submitting, we want 6 to 7 of those to be going issued. Otherwise, it seems like you're maybe not pre-qualifying that client well enough. You're not getting enough health information from them, or really drilling down on those health questions on the application. So kind of that field underwriting part of it does become more important if those percentages get too low. Same idea with persistency. So persistency is how many of those policies that have gone in force are still on the books in 4 months, 7 months, and 13 months. It's one of our biggest expenses as a life insurance carrier is, number one, taking on those applications and underwriting them. That's a big cost for us. And number two is, once we approve it, we're printing out a policy, we're mailing it to the client. That part of the client acquisition, that's kind of the second part of that cost. So we're looking to see how long those policies stay on the books, and if they fall off too much, that's where we start to have a concern, and where sometimes we might have to ask people to try and improve that. And again, our numbers for that are about the same at 13 months. We'd really like you to have right around 70% persistency, making sure that at least 7 of the 10 cases that I've had issued in the last year are still on the books a year from now. So those are the two big things. We do have reporting that's available to you guys that you can track that from month to month. If you go on our website and click on the All Reports button, there is placement and persistency reporting for our life and accidental death products. You can see your downline, you can see your personal production, and that does update once a month, so you guys can keep track of it.
Is that inside the standard portal where we go to look up everything else?
It is. It's all housed in the same place. So all your your commission reports, or the hopefully you never have to experience it, but if you have a debt or downline team debt, all those reports, compensation, appointments and license and stuff, it's all kind of housed in the same reporting section of our website.
And you guys do a great, I think, better than most, of sending out that daily email with compensation, downline debt, all that kind of stuff. That's extremely helpful when you don't have to dig for it, especially when you have a good sized organization like ours. So we appreciate that. Mark, I'm glad you asked the question. Dylan, that was an excellent answer, because that is the answer. We have to understand, guys, as business owners, whether we could completely take Dylan and take him out of this meeting, When we come here to FFL, Tim and I can attest to this because it started with the two of us. You're told sell this carrier, right? I'm not going to say it right now because this is recorded. Sell this carrier, sell this carrier, sell this carrier. And when those things bounce back, that's what you're taught or that's what you're shown to do. Of course, at some point, a company like Mutual of Omaha that's doing a good job, and I'm not saying anyone else isn't, a good job of being diligent about how they run their business and what they're looking at, you get yourself in trouble. What I mean by this is that's why we have the final expense grids. That's why we have the term grids. Take the time, go through. I was impressed with Tim, what you did at our last next level training about going over your, the inventory sheet when you're talking to the client. Your presentation a couple of weeks ago was much different than it was the one you did at even the first next level training when you went over it. Those things are important. So if you're blowing through that just to get the information and not digging in with the health questions, these are the kinds of things that are going to happen. So just make sure you're taking the time, ask the questions, getting the right health information as best you can up front, and placing those people with the best carrier at the first time. So
I have one more question. Are you okay with that, Dylan?
I'm here for you. Absolutely.
Okay. In line with the reports thing, is there a way, so we pride ourselves on annual reviews with our clients to make sure that, if they need to go up or down or whatever the situation may be, that we're there to support them. Is there a way with the IULs for us to be able to help the client keep track of their cash value and the cash accumulation so that we know if we need to increase the premium at all to substantiate the cash accumulation rate that they would like to have?
Oh, wow. That's a great thought. I love that. Number one, I will mention that we do send your clients for IUL an annual sort of prospectus on where their cash value is, what it was the year before, how much we put in the bucket and so on. And if they're blending strategies between 140 and high participation rates, it gives them all that good stuff. And they do get an annual letter. You can actually, more or less review that letter from our website. So there is a spot from our website when you hit that initial splash page, when you log into the agent portal. There's a place that says customer info, client info. I think it says customer info. If you click on that, you can actually search policy number by policy number and see where all those values are at in that policy that your client has all their personal info, their address and phone number, and whether or not they're on the do not call list as well, which is kind of helpful.
Okay, which category would that be under? Like reports or? So as soon as you get on the splash page, as soon as you log on to Mutual of Omaha, there's kind of it's kind of divided into 3 columns, if that makes sense. It's, I think, the very first clickable link in the left-hand column. It'll say customer info or customer or client info. It's just a blue, kind of written link that if you click the word, it'll take you to a place where you can search. Policyholder information.
Thank you. Policyholder information. That's exactly what it is.
Okay. Okay, great. I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
And then, so another great way to utilize those placement and persistency reports is that, I have people that sometimes come to me and ask us for, in-force data, which we don't have an easy way to get that information to folks for whatever. Some of our data reporting is very old, but you can print the detail of everything in that persistency, which goes back 2.5 years. So you have every policy number that's your downlines written, that you've written in that 2.5 year time frame, and you can pull those policy numbers and review them, each one, through that policy holder info section.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that. So that's really good. Really, really good. I got about 15 more questions, but we'll pause for that time. First of all, guys, thank you guys for being prepared and asking some good, solid questions. There is a such thing as a stupid question. I don't care what anybody says. But asking some good, solid questions today, making it worth Dylan's time. Dylan, I know when I reached out to you immediately, you said, yeah, give me a couple dates, and you immediately jumped on. Of course, we'll do this on a more regular basis. Like I said, you guys are very rapidly becoming our #1 provider week in and week out. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your knowledge, your info, your expertise, and you'll hear from me soon to get our next time set up. So thank you, Dylan, for your time.
Love to do it. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, guys, anybody that wants to stay on to see good news, there's tons of it. hopefully you guys got something out of that. I got about a half page of notes. There's some things about that I didn't know. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And if you guys have any questions or whatever, let me know. But just tons and tons of good news and excited to go over it for sure. All right. So for those of you guys that don't know, or maybe I've forgotten, last month, March was a 5-week month. So if you look at March on the calendar, you can see the first day of April was yesterday. So this is not actually, I should say technically, this is actually the first day, or excuse me, day number 2 of the first week of April. So if you look at this calendar, which we continue to post on Slack, that should help you. If you have any questions, reach out to your business partner, or I'm happy to go over this information with you as well. This was blasted out on our social, or excuse me, on our Slack line about 55 times over the last couple of days. So just so you guys know, you will not be able to access your leads. Now, before I say that, I'm going to say this. Your leads will still be in the new system, okay? They will still be in the new system when it gets turned back on. They're separating it by, and I think it was like March 22nd through whatever the dates were. If you started before, I think it was like March, let's call it 22nd, 23rd, whatever it is. When you get the new Integrity Lead Center lead platform, they'll email it out to you, letting you know that everything's good. If you don't get that email, just know that it's coming in the next couple of days. Okay, username, password, all that kind of stuff. Amy, if I miss anything, please jump in. But we just want to let you guys know the system is going to be down. The system is going to be down until I believe Sunday. Okay, I'm going to continue to post this out there because I know we're going to have people that are going to put on Slack, hey, I can't get into my leads. That's what we posted and kept posting and kept posting. I did have a couple of questions that I emailed into because there was a webinar that Amy and I were on the other day. I emailed a couple questions. I know they're getting bombarded. I have not heard back yet, but just know your leads are going to still be in there, and there's going to be a new system, Integrity Lead Center is what it's called, ILC, and that's what we're going to be using moving forward for our CRM. Lots of other changes coming.
Can I jump in real quick?
You absolutely can.
So your date was just a little bit off. Just if you were added to HCMS March 29th or before, you will just click on the ILC, Integrity Lead Center, and you will get in. It's the same password and login information that you use for HCMS now. If you were added to HCMS March 30th or later, then you'll have to log into the new, it's called Gateway. You'll get the information for it, and then you'll have to go through a little bit of a registration process, and then they will send out an email to confirm. So the majority of everybody with Genesis on down was added March 29th or before. I think I've added 1 or maybe 2 since then. So most of you should be able to just click on it and get in with your normal HCMS password.
And keep in mind, they're going to send the appropriate email out on Sunday. So when they say Sunday morning, they didn't say what time. I would imagine sometime before noon. You're going to get that email. They're diligently working, obviously, through the weekend to make sure this gets done. Keep in mind, guys, there's going to be hiccups with this stuff. There's going to be just things that are going to happen. Just be patient with it. I can tell you, I think FFL does a lot of fantastic things. I think there's things that we could all, they could prove on. We could all say that about ourselves as well, right? But just have some patience with some of this stuff. You're going to run into some issues. It's technology, but I can tell you some of the things behind the scenes that are going on. I'm sure, Amy, you can attest to this. Tim, I know you've been on a couple of these meetings as well. Some of the things that are coming down the pike with FFL are going to make it easier for people to be onboarded. It's going to make it easier for people to not just get onboarded, but start writing business quicker, having access to better leads faster, being able to integrate some of your things into the CRM for free. Those are a lot of things that are coming down the pike. So with change comes, some headaches, and just keep that in mind. Amy, anything else on the CRM maintenance as we upgrade to ILC?
Yes, just one more thing. Again, the platform that ILC will be in is called Gateway. Gateway will house your ILC, your HCMS, and your Assurance Bay. So from one system, you'll be able to access all 3.
So think about that when you guys are recruiting or building organizations. A lot of the stuff that's being done now, like Amy literally sends out the CRM to manually every single person that comes here, whether they write a piece of business or not. So think about that. That part of that process is going to go away, and we won't get too deep into that today. But thank you, Amy, for being on all those meetings. I know I hopped on as many of them as I could, but this is actually a really good thing. It's a really good thing. All right, HCMS, again, we're going to continue to talk about this daily. Make sure you're getting your agent codes in the system. We're starting to see now, because there's a lot of transition going on and people moving teams and building and getting comp increases. And if all your information is not in the system, it's gonna hurt you getting your comp increase. It's gonna take more time. And I've asked, I'm not gonna say instructed, I've asked Amy, hey, if the things aren't done right, make sure that the agent does what they need to do first before we keep going back and forth. We don't want to be one of the teams in the country that's doesn't have our stuff together when we're asking for these comp increases and everything else. We have our next level training coming up. That's kind of funny to say. May 24th, 25th here in St. Louis. There will only be spots for 20 people. So please, if you're interested in coming to the next meeting, please make sure, just send me a Slack message letting me know you'd like to attend. We'll get you on the list. For those of you guys that just attended, it will be at the same location, same spot. I've already got the room locked down. So we'll be at that same location coming up here, May 24th, 25th. In reference to our meeting schedule, again, Mondays and Thursdays, we get on Zoom, and you get to hear some of the top performers across the country, kind of share what they're doing in reference to when you're hearing them making their dials. You can hear them dialing people. You can ask them questions. I know one of my favorite ones is, as Gregory mentioned, is Robbie Wells. That guy just sets appointment after appointment after appointment. Very good on the phone. Not to mention that he was a Hall of Famer last year, and obviously do it again this year as well. Mondays and Thursdays. Monday, Velocity holds a new agent training, 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern. You can get on there. They have a top performer on there. Sometimes they're new agents. Sometimes they're, people a little bit more senior, but it gives you an opportunity to ask whatever questions you want. You got questions about, you want to dig into work spots, or what should you be doing, or what's products, lead strategy, that's where you want to go. It's a very, very good call. Wednesdays, we have our recruiting meeting, which is obviously, I think, one of my fun meetings to do, because that shows we're growing. And we just go through the entire process, which is going to be rapidly changing here soon. So recommend that all of you guys, whether you're wanting to recruit or thinking about recruiting or actively recruiting, it's a great meeting for you to be on. Usually it's done in 35, 40 minutes. A lot of great content that goes around in that meeting. Thursday, there's a team velocity call. So you get to get on there and hear some top performers across the country. Over 9,300 people are in the Slack line, if you will, for velocity. So there's usually 300, 400, 500 people. I've seen 300 or 400 people on those calls at any given time, but it gives you an opportunity to, again, hear, get that motivation that you need and hear some of the top performers across the country. And last but certainly not least, our meeting today, which you guys can see the content that happened with Mutual of Omaha, with lead vendors. Some of our top people here will be training as well. So in reference to our strings, still have 11 people on strings, which is fantastic. Mr. Kevin Francis, 3-week string. Ed Moran, 4-week string. Brian, congratulations for going over 7 weeks. Jeff Scott, 9 weeks. Mr. Zimney, congratulations for going over 13 weeks. And I'll show you guys something here in just a second, what he's been able to do in 13 weeks period of time. Mr. Ryan Valet has gone over 16 weeks in a row. Christy Polsak, even on vacation, came back and still protected the family, and is now 26 weeks in a row that she's protected the family. Renee, just a couple weeks shy of a year. Congratulations, Renee, on another absolutely huge week. One of the top performers of our entire organization, just week in and week out, 50 weeks in a row, string is intact. Mr. Belo, 57 weeks in a row. Just absolutely fantastic job, Tim. And the man, the myth, the legend, the great one, Mark Williams, 62 weeks in a row, and that streak will never stop. Congratulations, Mark, and our 11 teammates that are on strings. Quick shout out to Mr. Zimney for obviously just went over 13 weeks, has submitted $40,666 with 38 families protected over the last 13 weeks. Paul, congratulations to you. You will have a trophy, if you will, and a plaque so you can hang it up in your office here within the next month or so. The place I use for that's a little bit behind on getting those things out to me. But Paul, just wanted to publicly congratulate you. You've come here, you've taken this thing by storm, and it's amazing to watch your numbers go up, your IQ go up here. It's pretty awesome to see you doing what you're doing. So congratulations to you, my friend. And I know you're actually starting to recruit now as well. So those people will be blessed to work with you for sure. Congratulations, Paul. Quick shout out here. I know he probably didn't know we were going to do this, but he's battled his way through the first 2 rounds. And Ryan is now in round number 3 for the March Madness tournament. So Ryan, congratulations to you. Megan there doesn't stand a chance. So looking forward to you kicking butt and taking names in the final four and getting to that finals and putting some additional cash in your pocket and all the families you're going to help here over the next week or so. Congratulations, Brian, and look forward to seeing what you do in the finals. All right, last couple of things here in reference to numbers. Another very solid week last week. So want to keep this in its proper place, but also wanted to make sure that you guys, I'm sure some of you guys are asking, you're seeing names and stuff like that of people that you haven't heard or haven't been on meetings. We have a team that's been integrated with us. They're down in Florida. And Tim and I are doing a lot to make sure that these people are getting the information they need. And we're trying to make sure they're getting helped out. So we're actually heading to Alabama today to spend the weekend down there training some new people. So you will see some of the names, but they probably will not integrate into our meeting structure. Just so you guys see that, we want to keep you informed. On the reporting, though, we can't take them out of the reporting. So if you see some of the names, just know who those people are. In reference to that, last week, Genesis, Worldwide, and Good Life, these are our numbers from last week. So Theo, 313, Paul Zimney, 365, Jeff Scott, 576, Mr. Salazar at 688, the great one at 722 to move his string up to 60 plus weeks. We've got Mr. Jeremy Cruz at 758, Gabe at 811. Great job, Tim, working with Gabe. We've got Sheila Moore, writes her first policy down there in Dallas, Texas, one of my new recruits. We've got Miss Christy Polsak, comes back from vacation and writes 1265, 2 families protected. Christo Roll Arc down there in beautiful Southeast Missouri, down there with Mark, has done an excellent job dialing and training and all that. Protects her first family at 1362. Congratulations, Christo, and way to go, Mark, adding another teammate there. Kevin Francis, 3 families protected with 1532. Let's see, we've got Ed here at 1820. Brandy Jacobs, 1840, and just attended the Hall of Fame meeting and collected $2,000 in leads. So congratulations, Brandy, to you and cracking the top 10 again. We got Mr. Josh Sullivan. Awesome job, Josh, protecting your first family at 2304. No, he was on the meeting this morning. So congratulations to you, Josh, down there in Alabama. We've got Mr. Darius Paris, one of my new recruits, 3975. Guys, he was talking to somebody. They heard him mentioning that he sold life insurance, and he wrote 2 policies on with that person and their family for $39.75. No lead included. Fantastic job. We got Miss Amy Hillier, had a huge day, a record day for her of over 5,200, cracking the top 5. And again, usual suspects here, Mr. Belo at 5925, 7 families protected. Ryan Valet, $7,019. Looks like he'll be moving on to the final, or excuse me, from the final 4 to the final. So Ryan, hopefully that number is a good one for you. Awesome week again, 6 families protected. Brian Smagala, 7580, 6 families protected. Awesome job, Brian. Again, just week in and week out. And don't know what to say about you, Renee. You're just kicking butt and taking names. $14,301, 8 families protected, and continue to lead from the front. I believe you've been number 1 with Genesis the last 3 or maybe even 4 weeks in a row, and I'm sure that streak will continue. In reference to our top 5, as we just mentioned, Amy Hillier, 5,200, Tim Belo, 5,925, with 7 families protected. Ryan there at 7,019, 6 families protected. Brian Smagala, 7,580, 6 families. And then again, Renee, just absolutely crushing it, 14,301 with 8 families protected. Just bringing into the fold with all of our new teammates, if you will, down there in the great state of Florida. We had 27 total producers last week, 83 families protected. That brought us to about $83,000 in business. And that brought our total last week, $83,433. So we're definitely heading in the right direction and moving towards that issue pay of $400,000 to $500,000 a month. Now, in reference to our top 10, as we move through this thing, you'll see Leah there, number 10, 5 families protected, 5638. Mr. Salazar, number 9, 5754. The great one, 4 families protected, 6639. Jeremy Cruz, $7,783. That's Jeremy's best month so far here at FFL, and number 7 spot. So congratulations to you, Jeremy. Well done. Then we've got Gabe there with 11 families protected, $7,824. You got Damian Habke cracking the top 5 with Genesis here, 9 families protected, $8,396. Mr. Belo, 5 families protected, coming in the number 4 spot, $8,435. Ryan Valet, 12 families protected for the month so far, $11,630. That's awesome, Ryan. Congratulations. And I'm sure you're going to be well over 15 to 18,000 when the final numbers come out next week. The man, the myth, the legend, Paul, just proud of what you're doing, man. 15 families protected so far for the month, $16,619 and counting. And with your week last week, looks like you'll have a 20K month. And once you do issue pay that 20K, Paul will get you out the boot camp, the 20K boot camp, which a lot of people miss, but we want to make sure we get that out to you so you can further your career and expand your knowledge here. Congratulations for being number 2 so far for the month. And certainly, no surprise here, over $24,000 issue pay for the month, 21 families protected. Renee Barker leading the charge, not just with Genesis, but Ignite and also Phoenix. So Renee, congratulations to you again for being number 1 with 1 week left. And Paul, they're nipping at your heels. Last week, guys, we get ready to wrap this thing up. Last week, week number 4, 48,291. 29 was our issue paid number for last week. Just as we were talking about with Dylan there, you can see towards the bottom third of the page, Mutual of Omaha, we've issued paid right at 68,000. You can see that Americo is 25,000, and right behind them, Transamerica sitting in second spot at 32,000, and then Americo rounding out the top 3 at just at 26,000. 184,000. When the numbers are all said and done, we should be somewhere around 220, 230 for the end of the month, and looking forward for those final numbers next week. Last couple things here, and we'll let you guys fly. Thursday, decent day yesterday. 4 of our teammates protected families and extended their strings, if you will. Ryan 579, Brian Smagala 684, Gregory Pitts lucky number 777 with the children IULs with 3 families protected. And then no shocker there, Renee, another absolutely monster day, $6,242. Just as more important, 5 families protected. So well done there, you 4, getting your weeks off to a good start. Test passers last week, we have Ashley Shimmerhorn. I can't believe I said that right, but Ashley passed her test last week. We've got Charity Stanhope that passed her exam last week. And we had 4 new riders last week. Crystal Rourke, as we just mentioned. Darius down there mentioned him just a minute ago. Sheila protects her first family with Americo. And then, of course, Mr. Sullivan gets his first on the board as well. Bonuses, we'll continue to post this. 30K issue pay, $500 bonus. 40,000 issue pay is a $750 non-charge backable bonus. You can see this bonus goes all the way up to $6,000. Quick mention of Americo, $45,000 issue pay business. Obviously, that gets you a 8% bonus. You can see there in the top left-hand portion of the screen. If I'm going to totally butcher this, so Pitts, if you're still on, maybe you can help me out with this. But they're just added another 5% to your compensation, regardless of what level you're at. So if you're at 110, they're going to bump you to 115 when you sell the final expense Mutual of Omaha Eagle Premier. Gregory, if you're still on, can you confirm that? Or Brandy?
Yep, that is true.
Yes, that's right.
Bobby Bridges was there yesterday, and he said that starting today, when you sell the final expense, the Eagle Premier, they're going to give you an extra 5%, add 5% to your compensation, to your comp level. So,
and if you think about that, a lot of us are doing virtual stuff where you can send somebody a text message. They give you the 6-digit code, and you can do it right from the, in your jammies from the comfort of your home. So 5% bonus on Americo's Eagle Premier. Thank you, Brandy, and thank you, Gregory, for confirming that. We already talked about the calendar there, and then I'll post a referrals thing there for our team here on Slack here in a little bit. So I know we ran a little bit over, guys. Very quickly, about 10 or 15 seconds. If we still have you on, Mark, if you don't mind closing us out here.
This is for all the new people and those of us that have been here a while, but just follow the leaders. Whatever they're doing, do what they're doing. Renee's doing direct mail leads, writing a lot of business. It's pretty simple. So just keep everything simple and do what the top producers are doing, whether it's here or other parts of FFL, and you will have success as long as you're working and doing good things. you're going to write a lot of business. Corey, we have 1 week left to report. Is that correct?
Well, everything that ended yesterday will be for week number 5. So this is week 1, if that's what you're asking me.
Well, will the IP report next week show, will it go towards March, or is that going to be for the new month?
Last week's production will go for week number 5 for March.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
I
otherwise,
know your numbers are there. So I guarantee you, Mark, you're well over 50K, but see what we can do to try to find some numbers to get to 100.
we're within striking distance of jumping 2 levels. That's why I was asking. So.
Oh, I know.
And then same for Renee. So I want us both to jump. So
yeah, that would be a beautiful thing. It's coming for sure.
All right. Sorry to sidetrack the conversation, but just get after it, everybody.
Yep. We keep track of the numbers. All right, Renee.
Guys, let's just buckle down. I mean, we really need to just dial in. You got to get focused. The hardest thing to do is to stay focused, especially when you are on your own, you're an independent agent, you have your own business, and we are our own worst enemies. You know, it's real easy to get sidetracked in our everyday lives, family, friends, phone calls, dishes, vacuum. I mean, whatever the case may be, it's real easy to get distracted. If you're really wanting to start off strong, you got to be focused right from the gate, and just don't be afraid to take chances and make a plan. First off, what do you want to get to? What is your goal? And then what's the first 3 things that you need to do on totally solid things that you need to do to advance your business right now and to make yourself more successful right now. If you don't know what those 3 things are, get with your business partner or one of us or whomever and find out what the 3 most important primary things that you need to do. And then stay focused. And once you get that momentum up, you got to stay on that path. And every day, try to get 1% better.
Awesome
That's
stuff.
all I got.
Love it. Love it. Congratulations again, Renee. GP, you're up. I don't know if he's there. Yeah, there he is.
Hey guys, real quick. Remember, every person who picks up that phone when you call them, you have something that's going to potentially benefit. They're not potentially going to benefit their family. Maybe not today, maybe not next year, but sometime in the future, it is going to be a great benefit to them, and they need to know that you have what they need when you call them. You are essential to that family. So remember that. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Gregory. Tim, take us home, brother.
Well, I got nothing. That was all good stuff. So, just go out and have a great weekend and, just continue like Renee was talking about. Just get 1% better a day. That's it.
Let's do it. Appreciate you guys. Weekend Warrior time. Thank you guys for being on. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye.